Hi students, welcome to a video on logos by THiNC Institute of Design. So, the topic logos is pretty much important for all the design examinations and also for the architecture examinations. If you take the case of NID or UCEED or NIFT, you can see variety of questions related to logo each year after year. Likewise, in the case of architecture examinations, if you take the case of NATA, you can see n number of questions that happens or that takes place every year. So, in this session, we would have a detailed discussion of the topic logos. So, we'll be dealing with logos based on banks, fashion brands, national as well as international organizations. So, I really do believe that you guys are ready. So, before that, let's move on to today's session. So, moving on, what exactly are logos? So logos are nothing but a unique symbol that represents, say, a brand, an organization, or maybe even an institution or group of institutions. So like I've said earlier, logos are an important part of the question paper, be it for the design examinations or even for the architecture examinations. So when you learn the topic logo, you need to keep a few points in mind which are really important, and this would definitely help you crack those particular questions without making any mistakes. Alright, so those points are, the first thing is that you need to be very well aware of the details as well as the orientation of the logos. Alright, because the normal type of questions that happens in these design as well as the architecture entrance examinations are that they'd give you a particular logo, and or maybe they would even give you a particular name of a logo, and they'll give you 4 options, say A, B, C and D, and you'll have to choose the correct option which represents that particular brand. So keeping in mind or knowing the detailing as well as the orientation of logos is really important when you learn about this particular topic. Secondly, the organization or the company to which the particular logo is associated with. Like I've said, there are logos for banks, fashion brands, say even defense organizations, maybe national or even international. So you need to have a pretty good idea of what organization that particular logo is associated with. Alright, and also the category of logo. So the category means it could be defense, education or even medical field. So these are the particular category that you need to keep in mind while learning about logos, because such type of questions have already been asked in these national level examinations. And also the tagline or the slogan. See, be it any sort of a fashion brand or maybe organization, they always have a tagline, slogan or maybe even a motto. So these questions might also be asked in these examinations. So it would be better if you guys learn about the tagline or the slogan of those logos also. And finally, abbreviations, because logos, they do have abbreviations, and you need to keep in mind to learn the full form of these abbreviations because these are also very important. So you need to keep these 5 points in mind while learning about the topic logos. So I hope this is clear for you, and I think we're good to go with the next slide. So I've already been mentioning to you people that topics like logos are asked frequently in the design as well as in the architecture entrance examinations. So let's just go through a few sample questions that were asked in the design as well as the architecture entrance examinations this year as well as in the previous year. So taking into consideration the UCEED examination 2025, this question was asked. In the previous slide, I've already mentioned that you need to have a clear-cut idea regarding the orientation of the logo. So this is where that point implies. So if you have had the proper idea of how the Indian Post logo's orientation is, you'll be able to choose the correct answer over here. So this particular question is from UCEED 2025. Moving on, UCEED 2021. They've also asked a similar type of question. So this kind of pattern could be seen for the UCEED examinations. So please keep in mind when you're learning about logos, you need to be really thorough with the orientation of the logos. So moving ahead, this is again another question from UCEED examination 2021. Alright, so we have now gone through the questions that were asked previous year in the USEED examination. So apart from the USEED examination, questions on logos are also asked for the NID. If you take into consideration the NID examination in 2025, 3 questions related to logos was asked. One is related to logo of ICICI Bank. The next one was related to logo of Central Vigilance Commission, and finally a question related to a logo of a washing powder. So apart from USEED, even NID also asks questions based on logos. So apart from the design examinations, we do have architecture examinations which we need to consider. So moving ahead, in the case of NATA examination 2025, these 3 logos were asked. Okay, so students, you also need to keep in mind that you need to be clear with the logos to correlate it with the brand or with the organization that it is related to. Alright, so in this particular video, we'll be dealing in detail of n number of brands, banks, and as well as national as well as international organizations. So before we move on to the detailed explanation or the different types of logos, let me just give you a small overview of the different types of logos that are present. Alright, we have 6 main types of logos that are present. The first one are written logos. Then we have pictorial logos. Then we have abstract logos, mascot logos, combinational logos, as well as the emblem logo. So in the following slides, we would be dealing with each one of them in detail. So the first one is a written logo. Just like the name suggests, the brand name itself is a logo. So we have n number of logos given here, which are the examples of written logo. We have L'Oreal, we have Google, we have Visa, as well as we have Disney. So I don't think much explanation is required in the case of written logos because the brand name itself is the logo. Next we have the pictorial logos. So the pictorial logos is that these type of logos, they make use of a picture, alright, for the sake of logos. So here we have got 3 pictorial logos, alright. This one is for Apple and this one is for Twitter. I am not about to say what this particular logo is going to represent. It's your duty to find out what this particular logo represents. Alright. I don't want to be the passive listener or the passive person over here to keep on speaking. So it's your duty to find out what this particular logo represents. So moving ahead, we have the abstract logos. So these type of logos are pretty much different because they make use of some sort of a geometrical symbol or shape to represent a logo. So we have LG over here, this is Spotify, and that is Nike. Alright, so these 3 type of logos, they come under the heading abstract logos. Moving ahead, we have the mascot logos. So these are kind of different compared to the earlier 3 logos that we have dealt with. So this one, it features a character that would represent a brand. This is KFC. You can always see a Colonel's image over here. We have Pringles and this is Android. So all these type of logos come under the topic mascot logos. So now let's move on to the next type of logos, which are the combinational logos. So just like the name suggests, these type of logos are a combination of 2 types of logos. It could either be a text and a symbol or maybe an icon or a mascot. So Burger King, Doritos, Nestle, all these come under the category of combinational logos. Moving on to the final category, which is the emblem logos. So these kind of logos are kind of unique compared to the other logos because this, first of all, this looks like an emblem or a seal, and also the brand name itself is mentioned within the logo. So if you take the case of Starbucks or BMW or even Warner Brothers, the company or the brand name itself is seen within this logo. Alright. So students, I believe these 6 types of logos are clear for you. So if this is okay in your case, now let's move on to the different types of logos. So firstly, we would be dealing the banks. Alright, the first one is the HDFC Bank. So, in the initial slides, I already informed you that you need to keep a few things in mind. One is the pattern or the type of logo, the abbreviation and what it is associated with, and if any slogan or tagline is present, those should also be known to you. Alright, so the first one is the HDFC Bank. So HDFC Bank stands for Housing Development Finance Corporation Limited. So this is pretty important. Alright, so HDFC Bank was established in the year 1977, and this bank also has a tagline, which is "We understand your world." So this is pretty important. All these points are important when it comes to HDFC Bank. So you need to know the abbreviation, the established year, and also the tagline. And this is the logo of the HDFC Bank. So I hope this is clear. So moving on to the second bank, which is ICICI Bank. So the ICICI Bank stands for Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India. Once again, I am repeating, it stands for Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India. So this bank was formed in the year 1955. So ICICI Bank, they also have a tagline, which is "Hum Hai Na." So this is different from that of the tagline of HDFC because this is in Hindi. Alright. So keep this also in mind that banks, they always have a fixed tagline. They always have a fixed logo. It is in a really rare scenario that a bank would alter their logo. So the logo and the tagline of a bank is always the same throughout because banks are they're into play even from the time of independence. And also very few banks have their tagline in Hindi while others have them in English. So ICICI Bank has their tagline in Hindi, which is "Hum Hai Na." So moving on to the next bank, this is Kotak Mahindra Bank, which was established in the year 1985. So just like the previous two banks, they also have a tagline, which is "Let's make money simple." So students, I'm always still reminding you the name of the bank, their tagline is really important. Alright. So moving on to the fourth bank, which is Bank of Baroda. This is a pretty common bank which everybody is aware of. So the Bank of Baroda Bank was found in the year 1908 and they also have a tagline which is "India's International Bank." Alright. So this is the logo of Bank of Baroda. So moving on to the sixth bank, which is Punjab National Bank. Alright. So Punjab National Bank was found in the year 1894 and this is one of the oldest bank in India. So the tagline of Punjab National Bank is "The name you can bank upon." Alright. So this is the logo of Punjab National Bank. Now we have the Union Bank of India. This bank was established in the year 1919 and the tagline is "Good people to bank with." So this is the logo of Union Bank of India. So you need to be really careful about the logo because this has two colors over here. So there's a high possibility that for the design examinations also, or say for the architecture examinations, they could interchange their colors and ask a question regarding this particular bank. So you need to be well aware of which color comes first and which comes second. So moving on to the next bank, which is the United Bank of India. So this is also a pretty important bank, and if you look at the logo, this is an example of which logo? This is an example of the emblem logo that we learned in the earlier slides. Alright, the name of the bank itself is given in the logo. So they also have a tagline which is "The bank that begins with you." So students, when you take the case of United Bank of India, learn in detail the logo and also the tagline. So next is the Yes Bank. So this particular bank was established in the year 2004 and they also recently modified their logos. In the earlier slides, I've already mentioned to you that banks very rarely modify their logos. So such an example of a bank that recently modified their logo was Yes Bank. So their tagline is "Experience our expertise." Alright. So moving ahead, this is the logo of Punjab and Sindh Bank, which was established in the year 1908. The tagline is where service is a way of life. So this particular bank is not that famous in South India. This is more associated in the north of India. So next one is the Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. This is mainly featured in the state of Tamil Nadu. Alright, this was established in 1921 and the tagline of Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank is be a step ahead of life. So if I am pretty sure this bank started in the district of Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu by a group of friends, it seems. Alright, so moving ahead, KVB, which stands for Karur Vysya Bank, which was established in the year 1916, and they too have a tagline which is Smart Pay to Bank. So I do know that so much of banks, so much of logos and so much of taglines is definitely going to be too hectic for you people to keep them in mind. So the only option that you have is prepare a tabular column, logos on one side, banks on the other and taglines on the third column and keep on revising it. So that's the only option that you guys can do, right? So this is IDFC Bank's logo, and IDFC is an abbreviation for Infrastructure Development Finance Company. So the tagline of IDFC Bank is Banking Hatke. Alright, so like I already mentioned, the logo is important, the name of the bank is important, and also the tagline is also important. So all these three should come in your mind when you see a particular logo of a bank. So moving ahead, we have the CBI. This is not Central Bureau of Investigation. This is Central Bank of India, and this is the logo of Central Bank of India. So the tagline is build a better life around us. See, whenever you look at the taglines of logo, they are like more motivating and they give you a positive spirit. So that is the essence of the tagline of banks. Alright, so this is CBI, which is Central Bank of India, and the tagline is build a better life around us. So moving ahead, we have the UCO Bank. UCO stands for United Commercial Bank. This bank, you don't see much of UCO Bank in south of India. Alright, the tagline is honors your trust. Alright, so moving ahead, we have the DBS. So in this particular session, we will not only be dealing with the Indian banks, we'll also be dealing with a few international banks, and one of them is DBS. So this is the logo of DBS, and DBS stands for Development Bank of Singapore. This is not a bank of Indian origin. The tagline is live more, bank less. So moving ahead, this is the Bank of Maharashtra's logo. So this logo is pretty important, alright, and the tagline is one family, one bank. Moving ahead, we have the most famous Canara Bank. I hope most of the students are pretty familiar with the logo of this particular bank because this is really common all over India. Right. So this is the logo of Canara Bank, and just like what I've mentioned a few previous slides earlier, please keep in mind the color combination and also the triangle in which the blue color comes and the triangle in which the yellow color comes, because if this type of logos asked for the UCEED examination, there's a high chance that they will ask what is the which one of the following is the logo of Canara Bank, and they'll give you 4 options with different color combinations. So keep in mind this particular logo. This logo is the one that is related to Canara Bank. So the tagline of Canara Bank is together we can. So moving on to the next international bank is Citibank. So Citibank is based in the city of New York, United States of America, and the tagline is City Never Sleeps. Alright, so with this we can conclude the topic banks. So I hope you are aware or you are okay with the different logos that each bank is associated with. So I would just like to give you a heads up again. Learn the banks, learn the logos that are associated with the banks. Be really thorough with the pattern of the logo, because even if it's a color combination or number of spikes or whatever is there in the logo, be really thorough with the logos of each bank. know the tagline of banks also. This is really important, all right? So yes, we've completed 20 banks in detail. We've learned the names of the banks, their logos, taglines, and also the year of establishment. So keeping the year of establishment away, do keep in mind that the other three factors, which is the banks, the name of the banks, their logos and taglines, these are really important, all right? So we've already dealt with 20 different banks, both national as well as international. So I'll be giving you 4 different types of banks logos over here. So it is for you to find out what these logos or what banks do these 4 logos relate to, and also the tagline that these 4 banks are associated with. All right. So this would be a homework for you people. All right. So I hope banks are okay with you. So students, let's move on to the second type of logos related to fashion and designer brands. So here also we'll be dealing with a few national as well as international fashion as well as designer brands. We'll be dealing with their the name, the logo, the tagline, and the expertise that they hold upon, and even their country of origin. All right. So the first one is Calvin Klein. All right, so the name is really familiar, is really common across the fashion as well as the designer world. So this is particularly a American-based brand. So they have an expertise in leather, in apparel, in perfumes and accessories. All right. So Calvin Klein brand, they don't have any particular tagline or slogan as such, but there's however one iconic historical tagline that is really famous and associated with Calvin Klein, which is, you want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. So this particular slogan is the most iconic or the significant one associated with Calvin Klein. All right. As I already mentioned, this particular brand specializes in leather, perfume, fashion, watches, etc. And also they are an American based brand. So here what you need to keep in mind is that it's a small letter C as well as a small letter K. Okay, so that's all about this particular brand, which is Calvin Klein. So moving on to the second one, and that would be Gap. So Gap is also an American based brand. So they have a particular slogan which is also similar to that of their logo or their brand name, which is, for every generation there is a gap. So you can correlate between the logo as well as the slogan. So this is a pretty much easier version, or this is a pretty much easier logo also. So this particular brand, they also specialize in clothing as well as in accessories. All right. So I hope this is clear for you people. So moving on to the third brand, which is Louis Vuitton. So this particular brand is pretty much famous all around the world. All right. But compared to Gap as well as Calvin Klein, this is a French fashion house. Those two were American based brands, while this particular brand is based from France. So Louis Vuitton also specializes in leather goods, shoes, watches, jewelry as well as sunglasses. And the most widely associated tagline related to Louis Vuitton is the art of travel. So students, just keep this in mind that Louis Vuitton has n number of taglines available. So that's the reason why I mentioned here that the most widely associated tagline is the art of travel. So if you take into consideration the logo of Louis Vuitton, see the thickness of the lines over here are different. This is an L and this is a V. The combination gives the logo of the particular brand. So in the case of say UCEED examination, the high chances is that they might ask you the question, which among the following 4 options is the correct logo of the brand Louis Vuitton, and they might give 4 different options with 4 different sets of thickness of lines. So always keep in mind that the particular logo of Louis Vuitton would be in such a format, and you need to have a clear-cut idea of the thickness variation that you see amongst the line. So you all aspire to be designers or architects in the future. So for a designer or for an architect, the point is you need to be really into observation and clarity. So your observation skills should be top notch. So always keep in mind when you learn logos, you need to be very much thorough with all the factors regarding the essence of a logo. Alright. So I hope Louis Vuitton is clear for you. So moving ahead to the next brand, we have Gucci. So Gucci is also another famous brand across the world. So Gucci is an Italian fashion brand and the tagline is quality is remembered long after price is forgotten. Alright. So Gucci is also mostly famous amongst women because this particular brand specializes in apparel, footwear, perfumes, etc. Alright. So moving ahead of Gucci, the next one is Giorgio Armani, or famously known as the Armani brand around the world. So, this particular brand specializes in apparel, footwear, watches and jewelry. This is also an Italian fashion brand, alright, and the tagline is, it speaks for you. So, I hope Giorgio Armani is also clear for you. So, this particular logo is the one that's associated with Giorgio Armani. If you look in detail, this is a symbol of an eagle and Giorgio Armani's two initials GAR found in the eagle. So this particular logo is the one that's associated with the brand Giorgio Armani. This is also another logo of Giorgio Armani. So yes, moving on to the next brand, which is Ralph Lauren. So this particular brand is based in America and they also specialize in apparel, home accessories as well as in fragrances. And the corporate mission of Ralph Lauren is that to inspire the dream of a better life through authenticity and timeless style. Alright, so please be aware of the logo of Ralph Lauren. Like I'm already saying, the logos can be altered in n number of ways and asked to you during your examination. So this is all about Ralph Lauren. So moving on to the next brand, which is Chanel. Alright, so this particular brand Chanel specializes in ready-to-wear clothes, jewelry as well as watches. This is also a French fashion brand. And they don't have any particular tagline as such, but however, for one particular perfume, which is tagline of number 5 perfume, the tagline is inevitable. So this particular word is a tagline of number 5 perfume of this particular brand, which is Chanel. Alright, so this is also a French based brand. So moving on to the next brand, which is Rolex. So Rolex is a watch brand, alright. They only specialize in watches and they are based from Switzerland. Ever wondered why the tennis player Roger Federer is associated with Rolex? The main reason is that he's also the brand ambassador of Rolex. He's not the only brand ambassador, there are n number of brand ambassadors and he's one of the brand ambassadors of Rolex and he's also a Swiss national. Alright, so Rolex is a particular brand which specializes in luxury watches and it's a Swiss brand and the tagline is also pretty captivating. It's a crown for every achievement. Alright, so I hope this is clear for you. So moving on from Rolex, we have the next brand which is Mont Blanc. Alright. So Mont Blanc and this particular brand specializes mostly in pens, alright. So apart from pens, they also specialize in watches, fragrances, eyewear, etc. And this is a German brand. So students, of all the different brands that we have dealt so far, this particular one is a German brand, while Rolex is a Swiss brand, alright. So the tagline of Mont Blanc is the art of writing. As I've already mentioned, Mont Blanc specializes in pens. So that is related with that particular tagline, which is the art of writing. And this is also the most prominent tagline of Mont Blanc. Alright. So moving ahead to the last brand, Cartier. Alright. So this particular brand specializes in jewelry as well as in wrist watches. And this is a French luxury brand and the tagline is never imitate, always innovate. Okay. And I have a picture of Deepika Padukone. She's also one of the ambassadors of Cartier brand. Okay, so students, I hope all these 10 brands are clear for you. So you need to keep in mind the logos associated with each of the brand, right? As I've already mentioned earlier, you need to keep your observation skills top notch, because each and everything can be altered while asking a question related to a particular logo in an examination. So have a clear-cut idea of what this particular logo represents. Be really thorough with each and every fine stroke of a particular logo that you learn about. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of the fashion brands, and like earlier, I also have a small homework for you. You are requested to find what these two logos are associated with, find the brands, what they specialize in, their country of origin, and also the tagline if they have any. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the fashion brands that are common around us, or the most famous brands that are common around us. Okay, so we've completed banks, we also completed fashion brands. Now moving on to the next most important category is the Indian government organizations. All right, so we'll be dealing with a few government organizations which are pretty famous in India. We'll be dealing with what those are, their foundation date, their current president or chairman or chairperson, and also we'll be dealing with their logos in detail. So the first one is the national emblem of India. I don't think there's anyone out there who has no idea of what this logo stands for. This is the national emblem of India. This is found almost everywhere that you turn around, all right? In each and every government offices you go, you see this particular emblem, okay? So, this is the national emblem of India, and the motto is really important, which is Satyamev Jayate. So, this particular motto, Satyamev Jayate, is taken from the Mundaka Upanishad, which is really important. So, keep that in mind. This would be helpful in your GK topics, okay? So, if you see here, there are 4 lions present in the emblem. There's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is at the back. So, the 4 lions depict 4 characteristics, which is power, courage, confidence, as well as pride. So, the 4 lions seen in the emblem depict 4 characteristics, which are power, courage, confidence, as well as pride. So, apart from the 4 lions, there are also other animals present in the particular emblem of India. We have the horse, we have a bull, and we also have an elephant. Okay, so there are mainly 4 animals present: horse, bull, elephant, and lion. So there are 4 lions, and 4 lions depict 4 particular characteristics, which I repeat again are power, courage, confidence, as well as pride. Okay, so this particular emblem is taken, it signifies the Buddhist Dharma Chakra. That is the one that you see over here. This is the Dharma Chakra that you see. Alright. So, the national emblem of India was adopted in the year 1950, and that too on 26th of January. So, what significance does 26th of January 1950 holds? And that's also homework for you people. You better find out and you inform me. Alright. So, this particular emblem was designed by Dinanath Bhargava. So, all these points are really important when you decide to learn about the national emblem of India. Okay. So, moving on to the next topic, the Indian rupee. So, for most of the viewers over here, this might be pretty common to you. But for those people who are born, say, in the early 2000s or maybe before 2000s, at that time, this symbol wasn't there. Alright. So, rupees was either mentioned as R, capital R, small s, or capital R, small e. It is only in the last few years that this particular symbol came into existence. So, this particular symbol was also designed by D. Udaya Kumar, and the best part is that he is also an IIT Bombay alumni. Okay. So, this particular design is based on the Devanagari script, and this was adopted in the year 2010. So, regarding the rupee symbol, all these points are really important. It is based on the Devanagari script. It was adopted in the year 2010, and this was designed by a person called as D. Udaya Kumar. So, I really hope that all these points are clear for you. So moving on to the next one, the Aadhaar. So I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't have an Aadhaar, right? So Aadhaar is pretty much a really important factor when it comes to being an Indian citizen, okay? So the UIDAI officially unveiled the brand name and logo for Aadhaar in the year on April 26th, 2010. So that was a time when the UIDAI officially unveiled the brand name and the logo. So this particular logo was designed by one Mr. Atul S. Pandey. And the meaning of Aadhaar is foundation, which is really important. Okay. So whatever government subsidies or any applications you need to put up that's related to the government, you need to have a valid Aadhaar card, and there's also there's also Aadhaar verification at each and every point of time. Even your bank accounts has to be linked with your valid Aadhaar card. Okay. So I hope this is clear for you. So yes, regarding the Aadhaar, please be very much aware of the color combination, the number of stripes over here, also the type of, how do I put this pattern seen on the top. So all these are really important when it comes to memorizing the logo of Aadhaar. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let's move on to the next topic, which is, yes, ISRO. So what does ISRO stands for? ISRO stands for Indian Space Research Organization. So this is one of the top tier organizations of Indian government. Okay, so this was founded by one Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. This is a really important point. Students, I need you to remember this, all right? So if you take ISRO, there are multiple missions that they do. They launch satellites, all right? That's a primary mission. So satellites used for telecommunication, weather forecasting, etc. are done by ISRO. We also have the Mars mission. We also have the Chandrayaan mission. And if you're well aware, we also have the Aditya mission. And latest, we have the Gaganyaan mission. So what is Gaganyaan mission? Do you people know what Gaganyaan mission is? Okay, so Gaganyaan mission is a particular mission that was adopted by the government of India and ISRO, taking humans into space. So that's like a huge leap in the ISRO milestone. Okay, so I hope all this is clear. And the present chairman is Dr. V. Narayanan. The first chairman was founded by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. So you need to know these two names, founder as well as the present chairman's name should be very much thorough for you. The headquarters is in Bangalore, or like we say, Bengaluru. So the vision of ISRO is harness space technology for national development while pursuing space science research and planetary exploration. So this is really important. So please keep in mind when you learn about ISRO all these points. Okay. So this particular logo is the one that is related to ISRO. Okay. So moving ahead, we have the Election Commission of India. So Election Commission of India is also a really important body that we should learn about, all right, be it the logo or other points associated with Election Commission of India. So the first chief of Election Commission of India was Sukumar Sen, and like I said, this was also founded in the year 1950 on 21st of January. So 21st Jan 1950 was that year when India celebrated our first Republic Day. That is really important. We celebrated our Independence Day on 1947, August 15, while on Jan 26, 1950, we celebrated our first Republic Day. So that was the year when Election Commission of India was established. So the first chief was Mr. Sukumar Sen, and the current chief is Mr. Gyanesh Kumar. So the headquarters is in Delhi, like we all know. The most important headquarters of all these organizations are always found in Delhi. While for ISRO, it is in Bengaluru. ECI has its headquarters in Delhi. And associated with the Election Commission of India is the National Voters Day. So there's one more question that could be asked, which is when is the National Voters Day celebrated? So that is on 26th of January every year. So this year the theme of National Voters Day 2025 is nothing like voting, I vote for sure. So do keep in mind when you learn about all these things, You could also learn about the theme associated with such days every year, because this is a theme for 2025. It was a different theme in 2024, and it would also be a different theme in the year 2026. So, when you learn about the Election Commission of India, have an idea about the logo pretty well. You need to have an idea of the color coding, the color combination, and also the number of strikes or the number of circles that are seen in the logo. So, once again, moving through the most important details of Election Commission of India, have an idea of what ECI stands for, the first chief, the second chief, the year it was founded, and the National Voters Day when it is celebrated, the theme for the National Voters Day also. So, I hope ECI is clear. So, moving on to the next most important national level organization, we have the National Human Rights Commission. So, this is the logo of National Human Rights Commission. You can see two hands, and this kind of represents I would say a sun. Yeah. So, National Human Rights Commission or NHRC. This is headed always by a retired judge of a Supreme Court. Alright. Please keep this in mind. This is really important. So, the first chief was Justice Ranganath Mishra, and the current chief or the present chief is Justice V. Ramasubramanian. So, these 2 points are really important, students. So, always keep that in mind. So, National Human Rights Commission was founded on 12th of October 1993, and like always, the headquarters is in Delhi. So, when you learn about National Human Rights Commission, learn the full form, the logo. Preferably, it would be good if you could learn also the foundation year and the current chief or the person who heads the National Human Rights Commission. So, all these are really important points, okay, that we are discussing right now. Okay, next we have the Indian Railways. So, this particular logo is almost familiar to everybody over here. So, this is the logo of the Indian Railway. This is a public sector enterprise, and this comes under the Ministry of Railways also. So, every year during the budget session in the parliament, a huge amount is always set aside for the Indian Railway. So, this particular year, the Indian Railways received a gross budgetary support of that to 2,52,000 crore in the 2025-26 Union budget. So, before we move on to the next topic, when you consider the Indian Railway, this particular logo is really important, and you need to know that this comes under the Ministry of Railways, and the current Union Railway Minister is Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav. So, this all is important when it comes to learning about the logo of Indian Railway. Alright. So, here is written Bharatiya Rail in Hindi and Indian Railways in English. So, moving on, IRCTC. So, Indian Railway and IRCTC, two are entirely different, alright. IRCTC is also associated with Indian Railway, and IRCTC also comes under the Ministry of Railways. It's also a public sector undertaking. So, IRCTC stands for Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation. So, all those caterers that you see working in an railway, they all belong to IRCTC. So, if you want to book an online ticket for a particular train journey, if you want to check the PNR status, or if you want to book food on train, or if you want to how do I put this, get food packets from a vendor, all they are associated with IRCTC, and IRCTC stands for Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation. Alright, so this particular logo is the one that's associated with IRCTC. So, be really thorough with the logo of IRCTC. Don't get confused between Indian Railway as well as IRCTC. Okay. So, now let's move on to the next topic, which is the Central Information Commission. Alright, so this is a statutory body, and the Central Information Commission was established in the year 2005, and that too under the RTI Act. So, what is RTI? RTI stands for Right to Information. Okay. So, the headquarters is in Delhi. Like I have already mentioned, this is a statutory body established in 2005, that too under the RTI Act. So, the first Chief Information Commissioner of India was Wajahat Habibullah. This is important. You might be asked questions in this particular topic in your examinations. And the current chairman is Hira Lal Samaria. Okay, so this is all about the Central Information Commission. Always learn in detail the logo. This is really important. Okay, so moving forward, we have the GST, which stands for Goods and Services Tax. So, the GST or the Goods and Services Tax is headed by the Union Finance Minister. So, who is the current Finance Minister of India? Anyone? Okay, so that is Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. So, this comes under the Ministry of Finance and the headquarters is in Delhi. And this was established on July 1st, 2017. And they also have a tagline which is One Nation, One Tax. So, there's one particular point over here. GST doesn't have a particular logo for itself. This is really important. GST does not have a particular logo for themselves. But however, the Goods and Services Tax Council, they have a particular logo, and this is the logo of the Goods and Services Tax Council. Okay, so I hope the points related to GST are clear for you. GST was established on July 1st, 2017. They have a particular tagline which is One Nation, One Tax. GST does not have a particular logo, but however, the Goods and Services Tax Council has this logo. Okay, this is headed by the Union Finance Minister, and that is Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Okay. So, moving on to the next point or the next heading, which is the National Commission for Protection of Children Rights. So, this too is a statutory body, and this body was formed on a national level to protect the rights of children. So, this was established in March 2007. This is a rather new body. And the headquarters in Delhi. The first chairperson was Dr. Shanta Sinha, and the current chairperson is Ms. Tripti Gurha. So, all these points are really important when it comes to learning about the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. So, this is the logo of NCPCR. Okay. So, moving ahead, we have the National Commission for of Women, National Commission of Women. This is also a statutory body, and this was established in the year 1992 on 31st of January. And like the other statutory bodies also, the headquarters of National Commission for Women is in Delhi. Jayantini Patnaik was the first chairperson, while the current chairperson is Srimati Vijaya Rahatkar. So, I hope all these points related to National Commission of Women is clear for you students. So, this is the particular logo related to National Commission of Women. Okay. Can we move on to the next topic? Okay. So, moving on to the next one is the Indian Olympic Association or IOA, Indian Olympic Association. So, this was established in the year 1927 and the headquarters is also in Delhi. So, we need to keep two things in mind. The first thing is that the first president of the Indian Olympic Association was none other than Sir Dorabji Tata. Okay, and the current president of Indian Olympic Association is none other than P.T. Usha. There's also one more thing that is more that you need to keep in mind. You know, when we learn about the current president of the Indian Olympic Association is that she's the first woman in the history of Indian Olympic Association to hold that position. So, P.T. Usha is the first woman to hold the position of the president of Indian Olympic Association. Okay, so please be aware of the logo of IOA and also the first president and the current president of the IOA should also be in your mind. So, moving on to the next one is Indian Army. Okay, so this is really important. The logo of Indian Army has the Indian emblem and two swords kept across each other. So, the motto of the Indian Army is service before self. This is really important students, please keep this in mind. The motto of the Indian Army is service before self, and like the other bodies also, they have the headquarters at Delhi. So, the current chief of the Indian Army is none other than General Ubendra Dwivedi. Alright, the President of India is considered as a supreme commander of the Indian Armed Forces. This is not Indian Army, the Indian Armed Forces, which is a collection of or which is a combination of Indian Army, Air Force as well as the Indian Navy. Alright, so the Army Day is celebrated on 15th of January every year across India. So I hope all these points related to Indian Army is okay and clear for you people. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is the Indian Navy. So this is the logo of Indian Navy. So just like what we dealt in Indian Army, we also need to deal with the motto of Indian Navy, the Chief of Naval Staff, and also the Navy Day. Okay. So the motto is a Sanskrit phrase which is Sham no Varuna, which means may the Lord of the oceans be auspicious unto us. So this is the motto of the Indian Navy. The headquarters is in Delhi and the present chief of the naval staff of the Indian Navy is Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi. Students, if you had to remember, in the earlier slide it was Indian Army and that is always headed by a general. The Indian Navy is always headed by an admiral. Alright. So the Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi is a person who heads the naval staff of India. The President of India is the Supreme Commander of all the Indian Armed Forces. Okay. The Navy Day in India is celebrated on 4th of December. So when is the Army Day celebrated? It's on 15th of January. Right? It's on 15th of January. So the Navy Day is celebrated on the 4th of December. So since you've completed details regarding the Army and the Navy, let's move on to the Indian Air Force. So this is a symbol of Indian Air Force. Please be very careful when you learn about the logos of Army, Navy as well as the Indian Air Force. Okay. So the motto is touch the sky with glory. Headquarters again in Delhi. The present chief of the Indian Air Force is Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh. So in Army it was General. Alright. What about in Navy? Okay. And now in Air Force it is Air Chief Marshal. It was none other than Amarpreet Singh. And like always, the President of India is the Supreme Commander of all the armed forces. Finally, the Air Force Day is celebrated on 8th of October every year. So, we've almost dealt with n number of organizations on a national level. So, it is your duty or take it as a task to find out what these two logos depict, which organizations they are associated with, what nature of those organizations are, and probably they do have a tagline or maybe they also have a day that they celebrate every year. So it is your duty to get and collect the information of these two particular logos. Alright. So moving on to the final session of this topic, logos, which is agencies of the UN. So what is UN? It is none other than United Nations. So we'll be dealing with say 5 or 6 agencies of the UN which are really important, which could be asked for the examination. Okay. So the first one is the World Health Organization. Since this logo is really important and it's also pretty confusing, so there's a high chance that you might miss out a few details when you learn this logo. So this logo is associated with World Health Organization. The motto of World Health Organization is Health for All, and this was founded on 7th of April 1948. So where is the headquarters of WHO situated? It's in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay. So when you learn about the agencies of the United Nations, you need to be well aware of the logo, the motto, and also the abbreviation and also their headquarters. So this is the logo of WHO, which is World Health Organization. The motto is Health for All. It was founded in the year 1948 and the headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. So now let's move on to the second agency of the UN, which is UNESCO. UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Now if you look into the logo of UNESCO, it's really simple because the term UNESCO itself is there in the logo. Alright, so always learn the abbreviation of what UNESCO is, and then the motto is building peace in the minds of men and women. Okay, so UNESCO was founded in the year 1945 and the headquarters is in Paris. Students, please be aware that the headquarters of UNESCO is in Paris, which is really important. Okay, yes, the International Labour Organization, otherwise known as ILO. So ILO, it stands mainly for the laborers. Okay, the motto of ILO is if you desire peace, cultivate justice. This is associated a lot with the mindset of laborers. So this was found in the year 1990, and that too in the month of October, and the headquarters of ILO is in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay. Moving on to the next agency of the United Nations is UNEP, which stands for United Nations Environment Program. Okay. The official motto there's nothing as official motto in the case of United Nations Environment Program. But however, for the ILO or the UNICEF, we had official mottos, even for WHO. But for ILO, there is no such official motto. Please keep that in mind. So, the guiding principle as of the United Nations Environment Program is safeguarding the environment for future generations. So, this is the guiding principle with which they operate, but they have no official motto as such. Okay. So, the United Nations Environment Program was founded in the year 1972, the month of October, and the headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya. So, this is really important because each and every agency of the United Nations has their headquarters at different positions of the globe. So, for the United Nations Environment Program, their headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya. So, moving on to the last agency of the United Nations is United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, otherwise known as UNICEF. UNICEF deals with children mainly. Okay. The motto is for every child. Okay. UNICEF was founded on 11th of December 1946 and the headquarters is in New York, USA. This is the logo of UNICEF. Just like what the motto depicts, for every child. That is what we can understand from the logo itself. So yes, students, with this we can wind up today's session. These are the agencies of the United Nations. So, under the topic logos, we have dealt with what logos are, the different types of logos, the combination logos, the emblem logos, everything we have dealt with, and what all you need to keep in mind when you need to learn about logos. Okay, all these points were dealt in depth in the initial sessions, and then we moved on to the banks. Okay, we dealt with different logos related to various banks, both across India and also in an international level. And then we dealt with a few clothing brands and their logos also. And then we move on to a few national level organizations that are really important for our country. And also finally, we dealt with the agencies of the United Nations. So in all these cases, please be very careful when you learn about or when you go in detail with their logo. Each and every specialization or the strike or the color palette of the logo is really important. The pattern, the color palette, the extra strikes that are found in the logo are really important. Please keep in mind when you learn all this. Okay, learn the tagline if any is present, and also learn the organization or the brand or any other particular fashion or maybe bank or whatever it is that particular logo is associated with. And also it would be great if you're learning about national level organizations that are related to a particular logo. You can also learn the first chairperson or the chairman or whatever and the current chairperson or chairman or of any kind. Okay, so with this we come to the end of today's session. It would be great if you could keep everything that I have mentioned earlier in your mind before you sit down to learn more about logos. So logos not only comprise of these topics, you can learn more and more about logos, learn the different number of brands and everything. And also when you learn about logos, observation skill is a must. It helps you to improve your observational skills. So yes, all the best for your exams, and let's see each other in a different video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.